Hello there. We're going to have a look at the Tarot of Durer. This is that's a Llewellyn deck. I think that's what that is. It Llewellyn or the Scarabeo? No, sorry, it's Lo Scarabeo deck. That's kind of look like the Llewellyn sign. And but it's a deck. I've quite a few decks that I've purchased over the years that really have remained within their boxes for years. So we're going to have a look at the Tarot of Durer. So everything should be in the box still. Let's look at... I'm not going to go through these things. So there's some cards, a couple of cards in there anyway. There's what the backs look like. On that side, it's this image, and then it's that image. So they're not reversibles, the backs, if that's important to you. And a standard, of course, a little white book in a variety of languages, typical of these mass-produced decks. Well, I guess usually there's a spread at the beginning. Yeah, there's a spread here. So it's in English, Italian, Spanish, French, and German. All right, so let's have a look. Well, look at this fellow coming up. Well, there's the Fool, and it's kind of reminiscent of the Fool cards in the Marseille decks, where they usually have a little something or other nipping at his backside. So this is a very cheeky thing because his tongue sticking out and he's mooning you. Well, I guess mooning me too. So this is, I guess, a fool in regards to naivete, I guess, totally foolish. Not having a care in the world, not having any cares. All right, so, and this is the magician, or that's how they have magician, and le battleur is more along the lines of the Marseille tradition, selling his wares, the street magician. Most of these were con guys, of course, sleight of hand. This is the high priestess, or the popess, or high priestess in English, and it's a very traditional looking image. Snake in the apple down here. And the Empress, it's very Josephine, Napoleon and Josephine looking, very regal. Power here, her domain is the earth, and you look at some of these Empress cards, and a lot of times they really have the at least the image is along the lines of the mothering, the abundance, the nurturing, rather than the ruling, because mother's case rule of mother power rules over. So it's like that. So very interesting. And then we have the Emperor. The Emperor looks somewhat gnome-ish to me. And typical, sitting on his throne with this sword here, which is an earthly power, able to both discern truth and to kill with it too. It's his domain. Holding his domain close to his heart. This is the high priest, or the Hierophant, and he's of course the ruler of the spiritual aspects of our lives. Well, in a figurative way, anyway. Mainly looking at society's interpretation of the spiritual path. The Lovers is an interesting depiction. Pan, or a fawn, some sort of in mythology, and a young woman. He seems to be wooing her. So there is some nudity here. I guess that's a branch. Something I thought was standing at attention. And this is the chariot, and the chariot here is like a cart pulled by a mule. It sort of, in a way, does satisfy the typical understanding of the chariot cards, because chariot cards are the vehicles that we use to put ourselves out in the world. In an esoteric way, it symbolizes our ego as well, putting ourselves out there. But I find that in any readings that I do for anybody, if the chariot comes up, no matter what deck I'm using, but if the card that stands for the chariot does come in the individual's reading, and it doesn't matter, you read it in place and position with the positional meanings as well, but even with that done, if it's present anywhere in the reading, I always remind them of being careful with their vehicles. Be careful where you park it. Be careful, that make sure they're well maintained. In this deck, they have justice as 8 and strength as 11. So this is the justice card, which is, to me, is karmic justice, getting what is due to you. So, I tell people, say if you did commit a crime and you're going to go to in front of a judge, and this card comes out, there's, oh, look, I'm going to get, justice, and I'm going to get off. No, it doesn't mean it. It means that if you are guilty, you're going to be found guilty. If you're innocent, you're going to be found innocent. So this is justice meted out. The Hermit. Yeah, and Hermit is about going inside journey to find answers, to find your path. Sometimes the biggest journeys and the longest journeys are internal. The Hermit's always, has such a lonely quality to it, because it's a lonely journey, and no one can take that journey for you or really with you. This is an individual thing. Turtle, slow turtle. Very slow growing trees. These are all old things. Looks like he's sitting in front of a cave, the entrance to a cave. The Wheel of Fortune, and or the Wheel of Fate, and I know people look at that as the karmic wheel. I don't. Karma to me sounds like it's more of that you get something, but there's a merit to it. You get because you deserve it or whatever. With the Wheel of Fortune, there's almost a randomness involved. Sometimes the winds of change can make it so that, someone who's obviously guilty at something gets off, and then, then perhaps people that are struggling go down further, and people that aren't struggling go up higher. So it's all random. The closer we can get to the hub, though, even for large changes in the wheel, only make small little changes in here. Well, this is quite the strength card. And this is usually battling something within, controlling our natural response a lot of times. So this shows up, that usually means there's a moment that you need courage, or the moment that you gotta control the animal within and not react like this, so you gotta control yourself. It's interesting. It's a beautiful deck, really. And I don't mind that usually in some of the low Scarabeo decks, they're changing. At least I haven't bought any new decks in the last little while, maybe 6 months or so, but I have quite a few. And some of the older low Scarabeo, this is an older low Scarabeo one, but they would have all of these different titles over here and then across the bottom. I think having it along the side is sort of a little bit more. It allows the image to come out. Elongates the image, but allows it to come out. And I kind of like it like that. I like the ones that they do now, though, there where just have, a number and a suit emblem. That way, that's universal, the universal language. The Hangman, wow. Sometimes, to view the Hangman, it's a lot better if you actually turn it around. Then you can see exactly what his face is doing. So most hangmen, hanged men cards. Um, the figure usually has a serene look, a calm expression, but this guy looks like he's pretty freaked out being tied upside down. So I would say that this card really denotes the punishment aspect of the history of the hangman, where they used to do traitors, hang them up by their feet like that over bridges and stuff. So they would hang up by 1 foot. And so that seems to be, what I wonder if this is what he stole? What is this? It's a bird or? No, it's a bird looking. Gawking. So, because usually this has a couple of, it usually denotes to me when it comes up in a reading that, just look. It usually means you don't need to act, because you have to see something from either someone else's point of view or a different point of view. You got to look. You'll learn something. And there's, of course, being upside down, it's a kind of a stop, a delay in something. And, the other tradition is usually a punishment. Well, actually, from this card, it definitely looks like that. I don't think this individual is learning any spiritual lessons, at least at this point. This is the death card. And, of course, death cards, for people that I don't read, who I haven't read before or whatever, I always start my little talk for about 2 or 3 minutes on cards that have potential to come up that look scary. So the death card and the other cards, and then I usually explain what they usually denote in many readings, so not to be scared that death comes up, because in my early days I would tell them that after it came up, and you can see in their eyes they don't believe you. They're thinking, oh, you're just saying that. So I make sure I do that before I start turning over cards, of if these scary ones come out. But we all know, those who do tarot have done it for a while, of what this card represents, which is really a transformation where something had to die, either a phase in your life or something, and there's sorrow in that. But what's to transpire is a much better situation, usually. This is Temperance, and it's almost like is it Isis, the cow, or cow goddess? And this is about taking the middle path. Like a pendulum swings back and forth. Try to swing just a little bit in the middle. Because sometimes it isn't good to go either one way or the other. Has that connotation. It also, has a connotation for, depending on the reading. If it does come up for someone who likes to drink a lot, it says, you better watch that part. Moderate yourself, because it has a meaning of moderation as well. Do things moderately. Well, there's the Devil card, and it's associated with Capricorn, hence I guess that's a goatish thing. And there's the jawbone of an ass, I think. I think that's biblical. And the devil, that's a scary card. The symbology here looks very Western, if Western Christian. The devil card in tarot really denotes those things that sideline us, those things that distract us from the path, because I guess that's what the devil, quote, quote, is supposed to do, to take us off our path, right? Make sure we get lost, like a lost sheep. So, so that's how I see the devil. And also, though, the devil has another little bit of that I found, and I think a lot of people found it too. It can mean sex, like very, very physical and earthy sex. So, if someone comes in and gets a reading from me and is about to go on a honeymoon and this card comes up, I'll say, well, he may be a bully, but your sex is going to be great for the weekend or week. This is the tower. This is an interesting piece of the tower because it has, of course, the lightning bolt coming down from above and just destroying a structure we have so carefully made. And we don't see any... Oh, is that someone falling into the top window there? Yep. Oh, yeah. I guess when one artist does it from long ago, everyone wants to do it. And but these are structures that we have built, right? You hear about some people making the allusion to the Tower of Babel in the Bible, where they got together and built this structure and then defied God with it. So God confused their languages and they couldn't cooperate to build it any longer. But this tower card represents something, and it looks kind of cruel, coming down like fate, coming down and destroying something we built. But this is false. This structure is false, and this card will then be an omen that a falseness in your life is or will be laid bare. And in my experience, there's been a number of things. People have gotten this for job loss, where it was a massive career thing. It just broke down their own, I guess, structure they had built for themselves. You see that, especially if this is coupled, because sometimes you can't say, oh, you know what, you're about to get divorced. It might be true, but you have to be careful what you say. But if this card comes out with the Seven of Swords or the Five of Swords, Three of Swords, those swords cards are usually problematic, and with the with the other general feelings, and a lot of times the people that come and see you for that, they're not surprised with that either. But this is the kick in the stomach, as I like to say. It's having, your world come crumbling down, having the rug pulled out from underneath you. So you just feel like, you just want to curl up. And, for example, if you are absolutely not aware that your significant other is having a second life, another life, a secret life, and then you have absolutely no inkling, and then you find that out. Can you imagine how that would feel in your stomach? That your world has changed. Well, that's the type of disruption that this tower can. Not always, because it's the flavor. So the energy is there, and sometimes the energy is very high, but it's destructive. But the good news is, and it's the reason why the next card is the next card, is that this had to go because it's false. So, knowing that your husband or your wife, is unfaithful and your marriage is now over, that's tough, all right. But you knowing it or not, that fact didn't change the fact that was happening. So it was a false thing, a false structure that needs to be cleared out, so that ground, something better and more sturdy, can be built on that ground. So you see someone consoling. And this is what's next. This is the Star card. This is a card associated with Aquarius. And this is a card about replenishing our emotional, especially after trauma like that. Then we get nurtured again. We get healing. Our emotional banks are refilled. Hope is again placed within our soul. So this is a card of hope, of course. Hope and blessings and healing and emotional healing. The moon is one of the most interesting cards I find. It's because it does have the energies of our subconscious, our dreams, our fantasies, our fears, our shadows, all the things that aren't quite real, but most are just reflections of something that is real. So it's a very interesting card, right? As of course it's a water card. So all of those energies associated with the cups and water would be inherent in this card too. It's a card of cycles, right? Because the moon cycles, the same cycle back back over the 28 days, the same cycles. Humans go through cycles, 28 days. The moon is an illusionary body, is that the light it casts isn't true light. It's reflecting sunlight, right? It doesn't have its own light. So things at night under moonlight don't look exactly the same as they do under sunlight. Madness also in this card. It's an interesting looking card, though, you must admit. I'm amazing how talented artists are, though. If I were to draw that, it wouldn't look like that. I'm doing well if I can draw a happy face. This is a pretty card, isn't it? Look at the sun just beaming down on these little cherubs. And they're sort of hovering over, I guess, over man here, because there's over buildings and over commerce. And of course, the sun is a card for me that's energy and joy, and it's a very positive card. Illuminating, of course. Judgment. Yeah, this is when we see what we've done, how it ends. What is the judgment of our path? So this looks like 2002. So I'm glad that year passed, because I'm sure someone will look at that and say, oh, the world's going to end in 2002. So you can see it's a very traditional, where Gabriel, come blow your horn, and then the dead shall rise to judgment. So this is a card of assessment too, like a final assessment. When we get into the pentacles, we'll see that there's a 7 of pentacles there, and that is a card of assessment as well. But this is final assessment. This is the final exam. Did we pass? Did we get 50%? Did we get 90? An A? B minus? And this is the world. This is very looks very Moses-y. We have it looks like a young woman and a cat in an orb in a sea. And then we have the do we have the animals around it? Not really, but this is the world. This is the end of the culmination of events. Well, look at that. This is the Ace of Wands. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Leo, the Ace of Wands. Wow, lots of energy. See, this is actually, I like this because this is the suits are seem to be I didn't go through the cards. Like when I'm seeing these cards now, as you're seeing these, I'm really just, I've never really looked at this. Maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, whenever this deck first came out and I first got it, because I would go through it once and then I'd put in the box and into the closet it goes. But this is an excellent depiction of the Ace of Wands, because Ace is beginning, so this is the raw fire energy, creative energy. At this point, this raw energy can be destructive. See? Oh, this is going to be a lion theme, I guess. And this is the Two of Wands. Twos are about choices. Do you go through that door? Being presented with an opportunity. Well, that's kind of interesting. That's the lion there. So I guess, I hope so, the guy went through the door. The Three of Wands, that's what it means to me, that the two has passed. You've made that decision. And now you've gone through and you've made some little progress, and now you're waiting to see whether this is indeed a good path to be on. But it looks like this is a lion's skin. I don't like that. We do too much killing of the animals. Oh, I don't like that either. This is the Four of Wands, and this is a celebration of making something, of erecting something. So you have the four walls. Both the active suits, the wands and the swords, they like structure. So the fours, especially the wands, they like structure, because energy should have some structure or guidance to it. Otherwise, it'll just go off and blow down your house, or pull a tree over or something, rather than something that's going to be useful. So it should be contained. And so this is the celebration of the making of something, the construction of something. A lot of times I see this for people about to have a party, or even getting a new house, or even a wedding. If there are other cards that indicate love or that type of commitment. Sometimes it could be making new business together, but making something that's concrete. This is struggle. See, I don't like that. See, I guess I'll just, because this is an older deck. If this was a new deck, ugh, there's no excuse for that. But this is about struggle and competition. A lot of sports. When I read for sports people, and they actively play sports, this card will often figure prominently in their spreads, and it means the friendly competition, because you're competing against even your own teammates, to be the highest score on your team, and then you're competing against other teams and other leagues. So it's all this competition. Now, the Six of Wands is usually a victorious card. I see nothing victorious unless he was victory in that he got something to eat, killed something, but yeah, interesting. I guess I should look these cards through. This is 7. Now, to me, this is too passive. The Seven of Wands it denotes. I love analogies and I love examples and stuff like that. And it denotes, in my experience, it denotes an something active. It denotes you actively defending yourself, defending your position, standing up for yourself in a matter that you're right. And but this looks like more of the attitude of the Nine of Wands, but yeah. To each his own. Was that a room? What is that? Don't know. And I don't think I hope they get away with. I hope they stop using animals like that in in pictures. But this is being penned in. I guess pinned in this way, and not really knowing what to go. But you're on a door. Obviously, that'll open. So there's always paths. We may think there's no way out. And this is this is another one that's sort of doesn't have really traditional meaning. But you have here, looks like someone's stoking a fire, or even this looks like a signal fire. And maybe calling for help, because to me the nine of wands is always a defensive card, but it's in ourselves, and a lot of times it's not a healthy thing. It's us because of past experience, I guess. I call it getting your back up, just becoming intransigent, not accepting anyone's apology. Nah, I'm not going to accept your apology. I'll let you stew a little bit more. You hurt my feelings. I have the offense gene. That's a very, common thing with people. They get offended. Little snowflakes. Sorry about that. I can say that because I'm getting older. Now, to me, look, I'm looking at that and I say, well, that would be great for the 9. If I was seeing this in a spread like that and I couldn't see that little itty bitty number up here, I'd say, well, and then of course I wouldn't have time to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's 10. I thought there was 9. I would say that was 9 defending, and then look, the attack, But most people know what the 10 of wands. It's being, just oppressed or burden. Those that do too much, take on too much. Well, look at him. This is the page, or a knave, I guess the knave of wands. So, in my when I read for the page of wands coming out in my spreads, it usually means hey, there's something coming, because pages in the old days announced they announced the arrival of other dukes and duchesses. Your Highness, the Duke of Northumberland is coming, like that. So they announce things, and especially the with the page of wands. So when I see this one, it's announcing news, something coming shortly to come, and it's soon. It's not like coming in 6 months or even 2 or 3 weeks. It's usually fairly soon. Fire travels fast, not as fast as the wind, but still pretty fast. This is the knight of wands. Now, it doesn't really show it in this one because the horse is at a standstill, but that wand with those spikes in it look pretty serious, right? But I find that these knights, these wand knights, fire knights, or I think in my other video I mentioned it too, they're very exciting. They're on the go, lots of high energy, but they're impatient. They can be physically nasty as well, But they drive fast cars. These guys that like fast cars, because there's always something going on down the street or over 3 blocks away that I have to go over and see. Now, this is a bizarre, I think, view of the Queen of Wands. Few things I like about it. Well, she is kind of mysterious, I guess. This is Aries in my the way I do the tarot astrology. By and large, this guy is Sagittarius, about 2/3 of the Sagittarians. the way I do it, and the 2/3 of the Aries people are the Queen of Wands. Now she gets things done, and there is a sexuality with this queen. So I guess maybe that's why it's like this. Often, in the last deck I did the transformational tarot in the Queen of Wands, there wasn't a cat, but often you'll see a cat in the Queen of Wands because the Queens of Wands are intuitive, and they should trust their own instincts. They have not ESP, but they do have some pretty high intuitive power. And I think that's why cats like them too, because cats are like that. Cats are very Aries-like in my view, rather than Leo. They're more Aries, although they represent Leo. But that's an interesting take on her, huh? She looks very mysterious. Yeah. And this is the king. And the king here is, the way I do it is Leo. Well, 2/3 of the Leo. Oh, look at the key. Isn't that interesting? There's a lion looking out over the wall. Yeah, these are men on with lots of energy on the go. They start businesses. They like to start them and then go and start another one, and then go and start another one. They like this seeding stuff and starting new ventures. Not so much adventures, but ventures. Yep, they have always lots of energy. Fiery. Now we get to the cups. There's the Ace of Cups, right on the edge of the ocean. Huh. Is that a person right there? Yep. Look at that. And the cards are all antique with these spots, and a little bit of that goes a long way. After a while, just to me, it just looks dirty. The Two of Cups. I think is an excellent version of the Two of Cups for the energies that the Two of Cups does do. Two's about choices. Yes, two is always about choices too, but this is a choice of friendship too, right? It's not. There's a possibility of romantic, that this could lead to romance, but it's a possibility. Really, the energy here is the connection, is of sharing, of having a lot in common, to share this path. Now, the Three of Cups, I think I said this for the last deck as well. I think I'll make a new pile here. I said this for the last transformational tarot. For me, the Three of Cups is about friendship and sharing. It's about, sharing the good, the bad, going out, getting a raise and going and taking your two besties or three besties and going out, and celebrate that. That's what it's like. So this is sort of confusing because it looks like there's a couple of emotional experiences, as denoted by the cups that seem to be out of his way, out of his reach. Poor little thing. You have to figure it out. But the Three of Cups is a happy card, a sharing card, friendships. Oh, this is interesting for Four of Cups. Oh, the clouds. There's clouds over the emotions. Look, there's a little bird coming out of the egg. And there's no one around to see it. That's sort of a little bit like the traditional meaning of where it shows some fellow underneath a tree with the cups, right? And he's not even looking at the cup, the the new emotional experience or another emotional experience being offered, and he is not even watching because boredom. And again, too much structure in our emotional lives leads to stagnation. Just like water, our emotions need to flow too. So fours are about structure. So structure is not good in the emotional realm. See all the clouds and traditionally this is a card of boredom. Well, it's a card of not of losing your passion. Just getting blah. 5. Oh, the dead bird. Is that just a spot, or is a spot as something? No, probably not. Well, as most people, as most of us realize, what the 5 is an emotional loss, but it's mainly regret. I find that this is a card of emotional loss, but it's regret. Yeah, regretting things we said. We spill our cups around each other, and we just allow them to be over, to pour out our emotions. This is 6. Oh, isn't this cute? 6 of Cups. This is obvious little child being baptized in a religious rite. This looks like Middle Ages, medieval times. And the 6 is about memories, so I guess that's why memories way back. When the child was born, memories for the parents too. But I found that this is a very nice card with connotations of security, because it brings you back to childhood when many of us didn't have to worry about anything. Our meals, everything, our roof over our head. We just had to worry about what we're going to play with the next day or what we're going to do. So very secure. And when it comes up in spreads for people, it's usually someone's going to come back from either from their hometown or their childhood, or they're going to connect. It doesn't have to go that far back, but it's usually back a bit. Even could be like a cousin that you really haven't been being around with for the last 10, 15 years or so, and all of a sudden now you reconnect. It's like those feelings. Now, that's interesting little. And what's this one? What does that say? Pater Noster. That's Latin for Our Father. So that's the Lord's Prayer. And we have fire, maybe sexuality, purity, maybe. Look what that dove is doing. Looks like he's eating a worm. Oh, yes, yeah. And that looks like cucumber slices. Can't be, but no, it's coins. So these are all options. These are all areas that we have fantasies of. Wish I had more money, wish I had more energy or fame, more passion, more religious fervor maybe, more whatever, and more food. But these are things that many of us get trapped in our minds. So, if you have 40,000 options and you go through them all, well, you're going to be dead before you pick one of them. So you gotta, what was it called? Fish or cut bait. You gotta do something. Well, this looks like a very depressing card, the 8 of Cups. Yeah, I guess I can sort of see it. The meanings, at least, that I ascribe to the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups to me is coming to the realization of, is this all there is? I just feel I'm not fulfilled. I just feel that there's something else. All those feelings are within the 8 of Cups. Of, getting the Wunderlust, because I know it's just not this. I know I love you, dear, but this is, it's just not working, you know. So I guess that's the feeling it can leave if a person living here in a relationship decides to, to move on, then it's, be like that. And it's not that what they leave is so terribly bad, but it's that the energy within them telling them that, no, you need to go on. Now, I hope this guy's a bartender. Let's see now. What's in with? Oh, I hope he's not serving up birds, but no, it looks like it. Because to me, this is what the Nine of Cups symbolizes. It's the wish card. So if it comes out in someone's spread, and if I well, sometimes I don't remember to tell them at the very beginning, make a wish. I think some of that's silly, but if it does come out in someone's spread, I tell them about the wish card. So, but to me, this is a card of being gregarious, of out partying, enjoying the single life, meeting new people, sharing, having fun. Because of the way that Pixie Smith drew the Nine of Cups in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, there's people have ascribed smugness to it, because he looks like he's crossing his arms smugly. And I guess for some readings I think that could be it, and I wonder if it is smug because we are bringing that meaning in, and now it is attaching itself to that card and becoming a valid meaning. Because I've been reading cards for a long time, and I've never got smugness from it. I got gregariousness. I got needing to be gregarious, or cutting back on the partying stuff. But I've never gotten smug. Tell me if you have. This is cute because it's the two white doves in the cherry blossom tree, and that's very pretty. You must say that the artist draws in a way that I like. You see the couple down here too. So the 10 is about being satisfied, getting to where you want to go, being emotionally satisfied, happiness, all those things. Contentment, being a contented phase in your life. But there's a finality, though, there with this card, that there's only so much you can attain, and then it's another path. Okay, this is the page, or what they call it, Knave of Cups, and whereas the other page this announces too, but announces some emotional news, a news you're going to react to in an emotional way. Almost, maybe. Well, I was going to say most news we do that, but it's an emotional news. And there's been association and they've repeated sort of here with the fish in the cup, of announcing pregnancy. So if you see this card and you see, the Empress card and maybe the Queen of Pentacles or one of the other queens that are appropriate, or some other cards, they're indicative of love or commitment, then, there's a good chance that this indeed means pregnancy on the way. If you're reading for a 70-year-old woman, I wouldn't tell her that. I think you had to recalibrate your readings. Here's a Knight of Cups. Now, again, this guy. This guy is fun. This guy is, again, like all the knights, they quest. They go on quests if it's a person. I found that a lot of times knights are not people, but it's the energy that's around people. But I found that the kings and queens are most often people, and they are most often the sex they say. The kings are most often the men, and the queens are most often women in the spreads I do for people. But it's not necessarily that way, although in practice it seems to be that way. But knights are interesting because a lot of times they are just energies involved, or what's happening. But when they are people, younger people, usually people that are not quite married yet, or maybe if they were married, it was a young marriage and then they're divorced, but they still have that knight energy within them. Well, this guy, this or gal, they quest for love, and he's like, I don't know if it's a Lothario or not a gigolo, because he doesn't do it for money, but he's the love him and leave him type. He likes, like say, quests for love, and he's a very attentive boyfriend or girlfriend, very loving, very caring, sweep you off your feet, do all of the things you like, just do, just amazing. And then they're gone. Yeah, because they quest and then they want to do another. It's not that they are notching their belts or anything like that, but it's that energy that they're seeking. And so once that starts abating, because they like the newness of it, and that new phase of courtship, like courtly love and all that stuff. And once that sort of progresses, which is always happens, that's the normal course of things, they lose interest, go on to somebody else. Yep. Oh, look at this Queen of Cups, eh? Like I said in my last video, I could go on an hour about her. Yeah, Queens of Cups are interesting. They are reflectors. If you want to know what that means, go look at the part about the Queens of Cups in the Transformational Tarot, or the last video I put up, because they are that's what they do. They're lovely people, great, great, all of them great. There's no horrible court card in here, and there's no really absolutely saintly one either. They all have their quirks. And she's a reflector. She reflects to you what she thinks you want to see from her, and vice versa from you. You have to reflect what you think she wants to see from you. It gets all so complicated. And you notice this is the King of Cups. It's interesting, Nuzla. His feet are what he doesn't want to get his feet in the water. These are the waters of emotions. No, he's trained himself over many years how to control his emotions, how to stifle them down. Like I said, this is for astrological. Pisces, well, 2/3. Pisces for that. Cancer for her, 2/3. That's the way it's done. It's not the full sign. And with the King of Cups, it's Scorpio sign. They tend to, if they manage to do a real good job of pushing down their emotions so they don't have to deal with them, they usually end up, something has to give, and this is usually what gives. Glub, glub, glub. The suit of spades, or the beautiful people. A fox, because they're clever. This is the suit of the mind. It's interesting. 2s is about choices. Oh, look. Oh, I wonder what choice. Oh, no, she has to make a choice. You see, these are hard choices. The 2 of Swords is about Choosing between your heart and your head. Hard choices, because your heart's saying one thing, your head's saying another. Oh, but I love him. But he's an alcoholic. But I love him anyway. So which one is going to win? You know? And so I think this is maybe denoted here. Where's the chicken? Well, can't really see where the chicken is. Well, you see, there's two things. Is either the fox is either going to go for the egg or the chicken. So the chicken's going to have to make a decision. Is it my life or my kid? Which one should I choose? Tough choices. In most decks, they usually have some hint of the emotional aspect by having water present. See, that's mind. Then usually have sitting in front of a pool of water. The Three of Swords is about betrayal, and I'm trying to see what happens. The fox looks scared, and he looks. So I don't know what happened here. The fox is just fleeing. I don't know if someone's throwing swords at it, but it's betrayal. It's stabbing her heart. Oh, the fox in a trap. To me, the Four of Swords is not about. Well, I guess in a way I was going to say it's not about confinement, but I guess there's a little bit of that in the Four of Swords. But the Four of Swords is about trying to give your mind some structure. And the Four is about structure. It usually occurs when he needs to calm his mind down. He's in a predicament. It usually means we need to recharge our mental batteries, that we need to recoup. Sometimes it does indicate things like surgeries or any interactions or interventions, with medical stuff. That's cruel. The 5, this is I guess it's probably a 2. This is the card of the bully, the 5. Now, this is interesting because, it's who's the bully sometimes. It's hard to know who the bully is, but this card, nicknamed Bully, but for those people who always have to be right, no matter what they lose or cause pain. Yeah, but I was right. It's those people in those situations always having to be right, no matter, when there was no need to rub it in, but just to give another little jab of a knife in the back. Six of Swords is usually some sort of leaving. I can't really make out exactly what this picture is or what that is. Maybe it's me. I don't know what that is. Is that in the box or is that a boat? But, look at the sword up there. That's precarious. This usually is going from one area of concern to an area that has not so many problems. In other words, going from rough waters to clear waters, rough sailing to easier sailing. But the problem is, and it's not really shown in this card, but it's shown well in the Rider-Waite Smith deck. And if you remember that, the swords are stuck in the boat, and they're pushing the boat off, right, and going from rough waters to more easy water, serene place, right? And it's usually a card like immigration or fleeing something. But you take the swords with you. That's my point. You take the stupid swords with you in the boat. So in other words, you're going to go to another place and then you're going to bring up that old stuff again. Old bag. It's like bringing baggage with you. So look at it that way too, that it's baggage that people bring with them. So one has to be careful with because I see people online and stuff, interpret the Six of Swords saying, oh, everything's going to get great now, everything's going to get better. Yeah, it might, but you're bringing the baggage with you. So you might start it all up again. So that's been my experience with that card. Now the 7 is about, and this is cute. He looks playful there, but Fox is just like Lenormand, right? There's something wrong. There's cleverness. There could be a little bit of chicanery behind that. And that's what this is too. 7 of Swords is about secret plans. A lot of times it's theft or someone stealing from you, but thieves have to have secret plans. They don't tell you what their plans are. And that's the flavor of this card is that energy of secrets, secret plans. Looks like these people are about to storm a camp. This is the 8 of Swords. I think we looked at something that looked like it was No Way Out. This is horrible. Now I'm seeing. First, I thought this was. Well, I'm going to cover his face. It's a fox with the swords in it. To me, this looks like more like something that could be for the 10 of Swords, a similar motif. Just stick another couple of swords in, and there you go, 10 of Swords. Yeah, I'm so disappointed in it because the 8 of Swords usually is self-inflicted, something self-inflicted where you are. Sometimes we are bound in and we're blocked in. We don't know which way to go. And a lot of times we do it. These are things we've locked ourselves into, choices we made. But there's always a way out. So I don't like the way they've illustrated that card. No thanks. Well, usually it depends on, I guess, it depends on the tradition of whatever tradition this deck is under. Seems to be under a few. The 9 is usually about worry, and fretting. So, I guess in worry there's preparation. So it looks like he's arming himself, being prepared. Now this is very much a traditional 10 of Swords. There is no new morning with a 10 of Swords in any deck. There isn't that. It's the end. There isn't a happy ending to the 10 of Swords. It's over. That's the definition of it. It's over, folks. Nothing more to see. Bye-bye. Like Porky Pig. That's all, folks. Unfortunately, Pamela Smith, I think she meant for that to go down, curtain to come down. But now, again, us humans can influence stuff, right? My idea of how the cards work is a little interesting because I think it's a science stuff. It's nothing to do with spirits it's all to do with science. And, so when it's people start saying that, well, maybe, especially if it's reversed, well, it's going to be this way. Well, for one thing, I think reversals is, I can read reversals. I don't. I think it's a fairly modern addition to the deck and totally not necessary, to do so. And what I find is that it lends unnecessary complications because now you get a double negatives of things. What does that mean? Positive now, and so it's not necessary to do that. But I'm wondering if because we've started to add this, this could be a bright new day after. I wonder if that indeed is going to become, what it means. Because I think we put things on here. We put our own definitions on. And then they seem to come true. But with the 10 of Swords, it's over. Maybe that's going to change, but it's over. There is an act 2. Wow. Is that the name? Well, looks like an old guy. Well, Well, you don't see pages that old very often. So, an old soul. The page of pentacles to me is always like someone learning, a student, but learning practical stuff. Could be learning how to grow plants, or learning about animals, or learning about nature. Wait now, hold it now. Oh no, this is the swords, isn't it? Yeah, well, he's a learner too. But this guy, though, what he learns is information. So, you see, that's why I don't like some of these decks, because that was confusing. Because this thing, from my old eyes, looked like a pentacle, a coin. So I thought it was the coin. But he's the sword guy. So his information that he learns about is the sword stuff. So mind stuff. He's a spy. He likes to listen and eavesdrop in people's conversations. Likes to know how things work. They're very curious. I touch on that in the last video, in the Transformational Tarot. And this is the Knight of Wands, so Knight of Swords. Sorry, this is the Knight in shining armor. He'll come to rescue. Yeah, but you better be right, because he'll fight you if you're wrong. They can be brash, questing again for truth, questing for justice to, for the damsel in distress. Well, this is interesting. Look, her sword looks like it's broken, is it not? Huh. A broken sword. This is the Queen of Swords. She's a Libra. The knights in my system as well. The one I go by is a Gemini. So she's Libra. Smart, logical, great advice giver. She'll tell you the truth. Yep. And she appreciates that too, and there's some traditions with her that she could be widow, and sometimes that's true. Sometimes if a card, if the tarot wants to tell you for some reason that someone is a widow, it would use this card. And sometimes it just happens to be they're divorced, but very smart. And this often comes out for lawyer, because they like the law. This is the king. Yeah, he likes science, likes logic, the law. Very reasonable. If you want to, if you know what their astrological signs, or which court cards rule certain people, then here's an easy way. Is, say, if you have a boss that's him, he's an Aquarian, so air. So if you want to appeal to him, you don't appeal on an emotional level, you appeal on an intellectual level. You don't appeal on an energy level. Oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's start a new store, anything. Oh, be exciting. No. You have to approach him on an intellectual level. Just like the Queen of Cups, you have to approach on an emotional level. Same with the King of Cups. They all are approached in a certain way, because then they understand where you're coming from. So now the last suit is the coins, or the pentacles. So there's the ace. That's very much like a Roman eagle, authority. Two of coins. Looks like they're going to have shooting. I always, when I see the two coins, I think of the phrase, robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's usually those situations where you have to do a little bit of a, sleight of hand to pay the bills. Three of coins is the master craftsman again, getting things done right. And when this comes up for people, you'll see that they're used, sometimes they're a consultant, but sometimes they're viewed as someone who has the knowledge. Oh, go ask Kay. She knows how to operate that machine, or she knows, or he knows how to do that computer program. So it's sort of like that, where you are viewed as an expert, even in small areas. The Four of Coins is interesting. He's, I guess, hoarding it away, or someone's hoarding it away. Yeah, you do that, and this will be gone too. Money cannot be hoarded. Money has to flow. You want money? It has to flow. You want money? Spend money. You want to get money? Give money. Because it's a flow. It doesn't have to be a lot. Here's a little thing I tell people. If you find a coin on the ground, I don't care if it's a penny. You pick it up. Because the universe doesn't know denomination. That could be $1 million. It's money to the universe. So the universe is looking at you saying, oh, look, that person doesn't want money. We keep giving them money. They don't want it. Look, we gave them that. We don't know how much it's worth, but it's money. It could be a penny. You know what I mean? So if you continually slough off money, it's going to flow to somebody else. Just a little piece of advice. It's an interesting little card, isn't it? And that's the miser card. That's the nickname. Some of these cards have common or colloquial meanings. This is a five of coins, very traditional. It's a card that's showing need. Poverty, yes, but it's need. It's being in need. Lacking security, needing security. It's almost like, riding the donkey at the inn. But, yeah. Six of Coins is usually about generosity. It's giving, but it's giving from a different hierarchy. There's a hierarchy in the giving. So it's not an equal thing. So I guess that's why the coins are coming down from on high. And it's not always coins. Sometimes it's power. In some spread, it's a difference in power. Now, this is the one I think I mentioned earlier about the assessment. This is the Seven of Pentacles, and in mine is in my tarot view, I use it as a card of assessment, seeing how things how progressing. And I love analogies or examples. I usually say to somebody when this comes up in a certain situation, I'll say it's like someone spent the entire day making a big pot of soup. You babied the soup, you put this and that, you just cut things up really tenderly and folded them in and then stirred up the soup all day long. You babied it. You served it up. Everybody thought it was delicious. And you taste it and you thought, yeah, it's okay. And then you think, was it worth the 7 hours? So it's a period of assessment. And usually, because in the Rider-Waite Smith, there's controversy what the assessment is in that. Is it poor? Is it, well, according to the esoteric title for that card, I think it's not good, and being dissatisfied. There's almost a dissatisfaction with the Seven of Coins. This is making money. So this person is just making money, just doing the 9 to 5er. This is the apprentice, just hammering out the money. So this is sort of routine work, doing things routine. The 9 of Coins is the card of independence. This is the card of doing it and doing it all yourself. That you're not relying on anybody for your security. It all comes from you. Now, there's one thing with this card, though, that I've learned over the years. There's a real good streak of loneliness within this card. So they may attain things, but it's sometimes at a sacrifice, an emotional sacrifice. Often you'll see a bird with them. This is the luxury card, or the wealth card, hey? Look at this guy. Just has, look, in maybe in our view, he doesn't look that wealthy, right? But in his view, he is. He has everything you need. He has got a big mountain of security behind his walls. So he can just sit back and relax. He even has an alarm, right? So there's his trusty talisman or something to warn him if something comes up. But this is a card of attainment of security or wealth, because money brings security. This is the card of the student. Now, see what I mean? For some decks, if I were to cover this, you'd think that was maybe the Knight of Wands, right? Where's the coin? Huh? Can anyone see a coin? I can't see a coin. I'll give you a coin. And it's just coins, right? Yeah, pentacles. So, sometimes it's nice at a distance. It's like when you're reading Lenormand cards. You kind of want the symbol. So you're not going, oh, is that the clouds or is that a boat? So this is the coin. So this is the student. But it's practical studying, learning about things in a practical way, how practical things work, how to fish, how to hunt, rather than, how to pray properly. That's not in their purview. They want experiences, but they want grounded experiences. Like I said in the last video for this one too, if I had a daughter, I want her to date this guy. He's slow, he's steady, he's faithful, reliable. He has a goal, and the goal is security, which is money. And he's not flashy. He's just tried and true. Boring. But think for a dad or a mom, they'd love a boring guy like that for their son or daughter. And in the tarot, in my astrology that I follow, this is the Virgo. Wow, she's kind of out there. She's Capricorn, and she's somewhat. I view this individual, the Queen of Coins, as a sort of a lower or a practical view of the Empress. She's like the Empress, but on the real, rather being archetypical at the archetypical level. She's the real level. She reminds me a lot of the Empress. She's abundance and nurturing and growth. Things grow. This person loves gardening, getting their hands in the earth, growing children. They're working with children. Children love them. They love children. And finally, this is the King of Money. Boy, he looks pretty scowly for someone who's got lots of money. Huh? The bottom line is important to these people. They go through life looking for security, but the security that they provide is through money, through physical security. That's what they find is is warranted. And so these are the businessmen or businesswomen, and same with this. She's a business because she can be a businesswoman. A lot of times the Pentacle people are involved with money, banking, blah, 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 typical stuff. But I find most of that, by and large, it's medical. I find them anything to do with the body. So they can be pharmacists, dentists, doctors, chiropractors, um, I was going to say health counselors as well. Maybe even gym instructors, or to me, I think that's there's a lot of wands in them as well. But to see, for these Pentacle people, they they value security. Now he's the workaholic, can be, and the family can resent that, especially if he's married to Queen of Cups or something, where if she feels he's not showing enough um, emotionality towards her. But they are feeling, and they're very kind. They do. It all comes down to the bottom line, but in their minds, it's always on that they're doing it for their family. They're doing it for the greater good. So it's not greed they do it for. It's for another purpose. And I tend to agree with that. So I hope you all enjoyed my look at the Tarot of Durer by Lo Scarabeo. Thank you very much and have a great day.